You don't know how much longer you can do this. Not in the way of giving up, you are not giving up, but in the specific, honest, quietly exhausting way of someone who has been hoping for something for so long that the hoping itself has become a weight. You have gotten good at carrying it. You have learned to manage the size of the hope, to keep it from running too far ahead and making the gap between where you are and where you want to be feel unbearable. You have practiced the art of continuing to work, to try, to stay open, to believe that what you feel is meant for you actually is meant for you, without the visible confirmation that would make the continuing feel reasonable rather than stubborn. The close is the hardest part, not the beginning, when hope is fresh and possibility feels uncomplicated. Not the middle, when the distance is large enough that patience has a clear purpose and the waiting feels like the appropriate response to genuine distance. The hardest part is when you are close, when something in you knows the gap has narrowed, when the quality of the waiting has changed from the patient endurance of a long middle to the specific, particular, fingertip-away agony of almost, and you cannot see the finish line. You cannot measure how close is close. You cannot tell whether this specific version of close is the close that resolves or another version of the almost that extends. That is where you are. I can see it. And what I need you to hear, before I explain what is happening energetically, before I tell you what today actually means, is that you are right. You are close. The feeling you have been having that the gap has narrowed, that something is different in the quality of the waiting, that the thing you have been moving toward has been moving toward you. That feeling is accurate. You are closer to what you have been waiting for than you have ever been. And today is the day that closeness begins to become arrival. May begins today. And I want to be very specific about why this is not simply a calendar change. May is architecturally different from April. The 2 months are not continuous. They are sequential chapters of a very deliberate cosmic story, and the chapters have different functions. April was the month of movement and release. Look back at what April actually contained: the burning through of illusions, the surfacing of wounds for healing, the karmic removals of what was no longer meant to occupy space in your life, the planetary ingresses that rewrote the fundamental architecture of what is possible. April moved things. Everything that needed to be cleared from the path between you and what you have been waiting for was cleared. Everything that needed to be revealed was brought to the surface and seen. Everything that needed to be released was moved. April was the preparing. May is the receiving. These are not equivalent. Receiving energy is not the same as releasing energy, and the month that is built for one is not equipped for the other. May was designed, in the specific, energetic, this is how the cosmic calendar actually works sense of designed, to be the month in which what was prepared arrives, in which what was cleared makes its purpose clear by being filled with what was waiting to fill it, in which the connections that were activated, the doors that were unlocked, the version of the viewer's life that became possible through everything April restructured, actually concretely, visibly shows up. This is not wishful thinking. This is the accurate description of what the energetic climate of May is built for. The releasing is complete. The preparing is done. The journey that what you have been waiting for has been making toward you has been navigating through the clearing that April provided. And today, the first day of May, the first day of the receiving month, the first day of the chapter that follows everything that was prepared, today is the threshold. What you have been waiting for has not been sitting still. This is the piece that changes everything about how the waiting makes sense when you can finally see it clearly. Whatever it is, the person, the opportunity, the version of your life, the connection, the recognition, the abundance, it has been on its own journey, moving toward you through the specific terrain of the last several weeks, finding its way through the changes that April was making in the energetic architecture of what is possible, navigating the clearing that was happening, the removals, the revelations, the restructurings, so that it could arrive through a path that actually reaches you rather than a path that was blocked by what has now been moved. What felt like delay was navigation. The thing you have been waiting for was not sitting in one place, not arriving because of some obstacle or deficiency or misalignment in you or in it. It was moving through exactly the terrain that April was clearing, in exactly the direction that leads to you. The silence was not absence. It was movement happening in the invisible dimension, in the energetic channels that the cosmic restructuring of the last month was opening and clearing and aligning. And today, that journey is entering its final stretch. Not beginning, entering its final stretch. The work of the journey was the approach through April. The work of May is the arrival. And the distance between where what you have been waiting for is now and where you are, the gap that remains to be closed, is smaller than it has ever been. Smaller than you know possibly. The approach has been happening in the invisible, which means the gap it has already closed is not yet visible to you. But the narrowing has been real. And today, in the first hours of the month built for arrival, the narrowing begins to show itself in your visible, tangible, actual life circumstances. Here is what right around the corner actually means in energetic terms, because it is important to understand this specifically rather than as a vague comfort. The distance between you and what you have been waiting for is no longer a question of months. It is a question of days. The energetic conditions of May, the specific, cosmic, this month not that month conditions of a period built for receiving, close the final gap. Not gradually, over the whole arc of a long month. In the early days of it, in the first, most concentrated receiving energy days of the new month, before the energy distributes itself across ordinary time and becomes less specifically targeted at the arrival. What you are waiting for does not need months more of preparation. The preparation is complete. It does not need you to do more work, to become more ready, to build more evidence of your worthiness or your patience or your faith. The account is settled. The karma has been delivered. The architecture is in place. What it needs is May to begin, which is today, and for you to be open enough to receive it when it comes through in whatever specific form your particular situation makes available. For some of you, right around the corner is a conversation that happens in the next several days that changes the dynamic of a connection in a way that makes the connection's direction finally clear. For some, it is an opportunity that arrives from a direction you were not watching. The way that Uranus and Gemini arrivals tend to arrive suddenly and from an unexpected angle, with the specific quality of something that was always going to be there rather than something that happened by accident. For some, it is a financial or professional or creative development that represents the first concrete, tangible evidence of what April's restructuring was building. For some, it is an internal arrival, a clarity, a certainty, a settling into yourself and your direction that has been approaching through the whole of the last period, and that lands in the first days of May with the specific, unmistakable quality of something finally, simply, completely known. The form is specific to your situation. The timing is not indefinite. Right around the corner means what it says. How you enter today, the quality of state, the posture, the orientation of your heart and your expectation, matters in the specific, consequential way that the first day of a month built for receiving always matters. The energy of May 1st is the seed of what the month delivers. The frequency you broadcast on the first day of the receiving month is the frequency that the arriving things navigate toward. And you have a choice right now about what that frequency is. The person who enters today still carrying April's posture, the bracing, the contracted self-protection, the waiting for more difficulty that an intense month of clearing and releasing trained as a reasonable default, broadcasts the frequency of someone who is prepared for difficulty rather than someone who is prepared for arrival. And what navigates toward you when you broadcast that frequency is not the arrival that May is designed to deliver. It is more of the experience of waiting, because the frequency of expecting to wait is the frequency that the universe works with when it determines what you are available to receive. The person who enters today having consciously shifted posture, who has recognized that April's clearing is complete, that May's receiving is beginning, that what they have been waiting for is genuinely in its final approach, and that the quality of openness and expectation they bring into today accelerates that approach. That person broadcasts a different frequency. The frequency of someone who is ready, who is genuinely, groundedly, not performing it but actually feeling it, ready for the arrival of what has been coming. And what navigates toward that frequency is the arrival itself, finding its way into the specific circumstances of your life with the ease and the suddenness that things arriving through genuinely clear channels and genuinely open reception always have. Give today the full quality of your genuine openness, not as performance, as the real thing, the actual chosen. This is what I am bringing to this day quality of being available for what is about to arrive. You have been waiting a long time, and the specific quality of the waiting, the maintaining of hope under conditions that made hope feel unreasonable, the choosing of your standard when settling would have been so much more immediately available, the persistence through the silences and the almost arrivals and the stretches where what you were waiting for felt simultaneously close and impossible. That quality of waiting did something. It built something. It earned something. What it built is the version of you that May is designed for. The person with the clarity that comes from genuine discernment, with the self-knowledge that comes from having been tested, with the genuine, hard-won understanding of the difference between what is yours and what is merely available, between what is genuinely aligned and what would require you to reshape yourself to fit something that was never quite the right fit. What it earned is what May is delivering. The account was settled in April. The karmic nodes were touched. The love account, the abundance account, the purpose account, the recognition account, everything that was built through the quiet, unglamorous, nobody-watching faithfulness of the waiting period was accounted for and matched. And May is the delivery. Not someday, not eventually. In the days ahead, in the first, most concentrated, most directly targeted days of a month that was architecturally designed to be the receiving chapter after April's releasing chapter. The wait is almost over. The finish line is not visible from where you are standing right now, but it is close. Closer than the waiting has made it feel. Closer than the silence of the approach has suggested. Closer than the exhaustion of the long middle has allowed you to comfortably believe. What is yours has been making its way to you. Not sitting still, not absent, not lost, making its way. Navigating through everything that April cleared. Approaching through channels that are now open in a way they were not open before the extraordinary month of restructuring that just completed. And May is where it finally arrives. In your actual life. In your actual circumstances. In the form that your specific situation makes available. With the timing that right around the corner actually means. Stay open today. Genuinely, fully, this is my choice open. Not because you have proved to yourself that the arrival is certain, but because the openness is what makes the arrival possible, and because you have done everything that was asked of you to get to this threshold. The wait is almost over. What is yours is almost here.